Good evening, ladies and gentlemen across our beautiful country of Canada, our friends around the world in the known and unknown universe. Welcome back to Favorite Angry Canadian on the 13th day of December 2023. Come on, Ralph, let's have a big yawn. Life is tough when you're a cat. I wish it'd be same for people. Oh, I love that. What? The cops must have just freaked right out. What the hell did boy do? What chance do we have? That's going to be the name of this episode of the Angry Canadian. You know, he could ask, what chance does he have? Ooh, gone, but not forgotten. Yeah, do that. Oh, he's good. Oh. Now you don't want to do this in front, right in front of your buddies, because they're going to clap and laugh. Bag mama, I love seeing cats with their little paws just go bananas. Man, we're going to have to have a talk about auto sales and what's happening in that universe. But anyway, as I said, what chance do we have is the name of this episode. Because if we don't friggin' well unite, and I mean unite, not just in Canada, all around the world, us Western people that have been overcome and overtaken by the woke butthole politicians, what chance do we have if we don't fight back? And that's what it's going to take. If you think voting is going to matter, in Canada we have freedom and democracy. You'll be able to vote for a conservative or a liberal. It could be Justin Trudeau again, or maybe Pepe Le Pew, Paul Revere. But that's not freedom. We have lost our freedom. We have lost democracy. We have surrendered to this ultra-wealthy class that keeps their own financial situation growing while the rest of the Canadians live maybe paycheck to paycheck, or in the United States. We gotta fight back. We want freedom. Any means necessary. You damn rights we do.
We want freedom by any means necessary.
For freedom, real freedom. For freedom, real freedom. For freedom, real freedom.
We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary. We want it now, or we don't think anybody should have it.
So whatever kind of action program can be devised to get us the things that are ours by right, then I'm for that kind of action no matter what the action is. I don't think when a man is being criminally treated that some criminal has the right to tell that man what tactics to use to get the criminal off his back. When a criminal starts misusing me, I am going to use whatever is necessary to get that criminal off my back.
Okay, that of course is Malcolm X. You can find a lot of his speeches on YouTube. Of course, they're not current because he was assassinated in 1965, basically a year after John F. Kennedy was assassinated. You know, about JFK's assassination, there are two things that really stick out to me. The magic bullet, and you'll have to look it up. I'm not going to keep repeating that. But there was a magic bullet went through Connolly, and that John F. Kennedy's brain disappeared. Now, how the hell do you take a brain out? Not out of the person, but just out of wherever it is. You know, coroners or funeral place, whatever. His brain was taken. And incredible shit, you know. We don't know answers to that. So that's why I have picked up a struggle. And one of my main topics in the last few videos had to do with electric vehicles and how senselessly stupid it is when it's possible that in 10 years we'll have not possible, I guarantee you, there'll be way more advanced technologies. And, you know, right now they sell you, oh yeah, this is clean vehicle. And, oh, you're going to save a lot of money because you don't have to buy gasoline. You know, if you drive a lot, it just plug it in at night and it refuels.
Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And boy, have we got a story to tell you. Imagine this, a 2022 Hyundai IONIQ 5 that costs $55,000 brand new, getting a quote for over $60,000 Canadian to replace the battery, more than the car is brand new. While we're in Canada, this car is in Vancouver, British Columbia. We're talking about Canadian dollars. Yeah. They're big numbers nonetheless. So you can extrapolate into US dollars, it's still going to be quite expensive. And when you hear the term ICBC, that's the insurer, the Insurance Corporation of British Columbia. So when you hear ICBC, that's the insurance company.
He saw something on the road. He tried to avoid it. He felt like he did avoid it, and he went on his way. When he got back, he decided to get the vehicle checked out. When the dealership called him to give him an update on the vehicle, they said that they see damage to the battery protection cover. You can see scratches on the cover, but they also said that the round part where we have an arrow showing it has widened. And the dealership says that that means the battery was impacted, and that means his warranty is void.
Okay, here's where it gets kind of interesting. So this cover is meant to protect the battery from, you know, running over something and having an impact. And what we found out is that the cover, even if the cover is damaged, they're saying the battery needs to be replaced. The dealership never took the cover off.
No.
And to have a look at the actual battery itself to see if it was damaged at all. They just say because the space between the hole and the battery above is wider than it should be, that's enough for them to say it needs to be replaced.
And that the battery has been impacted, which I didn't realize is that a battery warranty could be void. That was a real surprise to me. So Kyle decided that obviously this is not something that he could afford to fix himself. So he went through his insurance and the vehicle was sent to the body shop. So when he got a call from the insurer who told him that Hyundai has quoted battery replacement of $60,000 Canadian, the insurer said, your vehicle is not worth that much anymore. We are going to have to write it off. Unfortunately for Kyle, that means losing his clean driving record. ICBC told him that his insurance may increase by 50% because of that. But what was Kyle going to do? He can't afford to pay $60,000 on a brand new IONIQ 5.
Okay, so here's the invoice. This is for the body shop, and the body shop working with the insurer gets the price for the battery replacement part, which is $56,000. So the part has a part number, and that's the price. Then you add in tax and labor. The labor actually isn't that much. It brings the total to over $60,000 for a car that's 1 year old. What I kind of find interesting is, to me, as a layperson looking, I'm not a mechanic, looking at the bottom of this, the scratch doesn't look that bad. And if the battery physically wasn't impacted, I don't understand. Put yourself in a situation. You have a car where the replacement cost of the battery is more than buying a brand new car. So you're obviously not going to pay for the car twice.
No.
Or you can go to your insurer and have it written off and get a big chunk of that money back, which is what he decided to do. It does impact his insurance long term. So, and we got in touch with Hyundai Canada directly, and we have a statement from them, and this is what they had to say.
We heard from the national PR manager for Hyundai Canada, Jennifer McCarthy, and this is what she had had to say about the $60,000 Canadian battery replacement quote. This is a very rare situation and each is unique. In this case, Hyundai Canada's customer experience team should have had the opportunity to assess the situation prior to costing being shared. The cost of battery replacement depends on the nature of the damage, repairs required, the type of battery, as well as the generation of the vehicle, and therefore there is no one set price for every replacement. However, battery cost is a challenge for our business, which requires Hyundai Canada to continue evaluating its battery replacement and costing processes. We're working towards implementing a pricing strategy for batteries that is reasonable, fair, and in line with market competitiveness.
But what I find interesting is we actually do know the cost of the battery. The battery has a part number, and the part says it's $56,000 plus tax and labor. It's also over 60 grand to put it in the car. So there's a big problem here, not just with Hyundai, but the entire industry when it comes to battery replacements, is what is a fair price for a battery on a car that's maybe 5 years old? Does that mean that every EV that's damaged or has to have a battery replaced is worthless?
Well, that's the concern. I was focusing on battery degradation. I never for once thought that a 1-year-old vehicle would need battery replacement. People buy EVs for a variety of reasons, obviously to save money on fuel, but also for the environment, to lower their emissions as well as their carbon footprint. Writing off a perfectly good brand new IONIQ 5. Here's a picture of it. That was the day that Kyle said goodbye to his vehicle. Just doesn't make sense to me.
Now, if you listen to it, the car was 55, 56,000, whatever, brand new, and it's over 60,000 to have a new battery installed. Oh, where do I sign up to get a new electric car? Oh yeah, that's going to be really sweet. And they've said before that every time you charge your battery, its life gets less. Slow, but less.
Many Canadians are struggling to meet monthly bills, according to a recent survey.
Yeah, the new Leger poll found nearly half of us are living paycheck to paycheck with...
Okay, I've shown that before. That's recent. Living paycheck to paycheck, and these useless eaters in government, all of them. I'm not going to cherry pick anyone out there. Trudeau, Poilievre, Jagmeet Singh, but all their cohorts, all of them standing behind them, not willing to stand up for their constituents. They think they're doing good job because we're going to save the planet one electric vehicle at a time. Oh, that's going to be really good. I bet you once people realize how good the electric vehicles are and how they save the planet, they're going to be lining up to buy them.
$6.5 billion strictly dedicated to EVs.
Plan to sell electric-only vehicles has run out of gas.
The auto industry is beginning to crank out more electric vehicles to challenge Tesla, but there's one big problem: not enough buyers. Because not everyone is convinced about EVs. Sure, some EVs are hot, and some are not. Consumers are weighing their EV options more carefully against cost and charging concerns, suggesting growing EV market share could proving more difficult than initially thought. To provide you with real-time insights, we've gathered EV inventory data from CarEdge to reveal which electric models are sitting in the dealer lot for the longest time. We ranked this list based on market day supply, which represents the number of days it would take to sell current vehicle inventory at the existing sales rate. Before we go, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more content like this. And now, without further ado, let's go from bottom to top. Number 10. Mercedes-Benz EQE. Mercedes-Benz has been quite busy lately expanding its lineup to include EVs, and one of the latest is the 2023 Mercedes-Benz EQE.
Okay, number 10 is Mercedes. I'm going to fast forward through all the other ones, except for the last one, which is the number 1 electric vehicle nobody seems to want to buy, or very few. Now, the other thing with this, if people aren't buying them, first of all, they're going to have to be discounted. Second of all, the used vehicle prices are going to crash. It's, would you want to buy a used electric vehicle who already has maybe 2 years on its battery? Because apparently every time you recharge your car, the battery has fractionally, minuscule less holding capacity. So by 2 or 3 years, if you've used it a lot, maybe, your battery might not be as good as it should be when it was new. Now, of course, that means you might have to replace it, or maybe you're just going to be smart and trade your vehicle off on a new one because you have money. But what about the schmuck that buys it after you? And oh, it's really nice, it's fancy, it's got all the gadgets in it, and I can go 150 miles on a charge. I know it's supposed to be more, but the car's getting old. It's going to need a new battery sooner or later. But now that I bought the damn electric car, I don't have any money left to get the battery. My friggin' tyrannical government gives me no option. They are telling me what kind of automobile I will have to buy and drive. What a load of crap that is to our democracy, our freedom, that the government's going to decide what car you're going to drive. They're not going to pay for it. Oh, and there's going to be a lot of tax on it, but they're going to decide for you.
Jaguar has struggled to make much of an impact with the I-Pace electric crossover, despite launching it earlier than many of its competitors did. Now, the dealers just can't sell them. When it first hit our shores in 2019, the base price was $80,000, but with added options often soared above a $90,000 sale price. Few were willing to pay that much for an untested EV with marginal range and problems right out of the gate. Many could not get near the 300-mile range Jaguar touted, and a litany of electronic gremlins plagued it. Early buyers had trouble getting their I-Pace EVs fixed because dealer technicians were not yet trained. CarEdge reports, U.S. Jaguar dealers are holding about 400 units in total with no buyers. That's a low volume of inventory that converts to almost 2 years worth of market day supply. The problem is simply no one is willing to buy them. The automaker also realized that, which is why it's discontinuing the I-Pace before the company's brand relaunch in 2025.
Our government in the West, our governments have to be thrown under the bus ASAP, as soon as possible, because they're not only destroying the country, they're destroying your own lives, not just yours, the next generation. The money handed out by governments, subsidies to the electric vehicle industry. We're giving billions to build battery factories when we don't even know if batteries will be used in another 10 years because technology is moving ahead. There's hell of a lot better ways the government could spend money. Or what, $1 billion? Or I think we're given some like $4 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Well, anyway, we gave a shit full of money and weapons to Zelensky. Why? It's the most corrupt government. It's not democracy. Could Chrystia Freeland's connection to Ukraine have something to do with it? Conspiracy. Oh, where do they come from? My very active imagination, I guess. Anyway, this video is going to end, but I'm ending it with Neil Oliver, and this is a very recent video of his. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.
I said last week that I wanted to kind of keep keep the season in mind, keep Christmas in mind as far as possible. But I'm not naive enough to think that I can make it all about carol singing and mince pies, not through these weeks, months and years through which we're living. But I can certainly say, it's the season of Advent now, throughout December. Advent means the coming, the imminent arrival of, and it does feel to me, and has for a while, like something is coming. Change, some significant change in perspective. And I think the something that's coming might be the undeniable revelation of the mindset of what I characterise as the anti-human globalists who've been working for so long to make life hard and so miserable for so many. More and more people are talking also about apocalypse, which is a word that's kind of broadly misunderstood in many ways. Ultimately, etymologically, apocalypse is, it's from a Greek verb, and it means to take the cover off, to reveal and to expose. And I think, I'm certain that for good or ill, during next year, during 2024, the truth of it all will no longer be hidden from us. Occult, that's another word that's misunderstood. That just means out of sight, hidden. Doesn't have magical connotations. It just means hidden. But I think that which has been hidden from us will be hidden from us no longer, because I don't think it'll be possible to keep so much hidden. It'll be too obvious if it isn't already obvious. Next year, 2024, is going to be a big one. There's a presidential election in the United States of America. That makes it big all on its own. And this time out, the American people are being prepared for an event like no other. Supporters of the Democrat Party are being told in no uncertain terms that it's Joe Biden or nothing. No other candidate is contemplated or offered, and perhaps none is to be tolerated. In the meantime, all efforts are made by the Democrats to put in jail, to put behind bars, the Republican they fear and loathe most of all, which is Donald Trump. And it makes for a truly bizarre spectacle, the like of which, as I say, we have not seen before. And all of it, apparently, yes, that's what we're told, all of the suppression and indicting of Trump and the censorship and the silencing of information inconvenient to the powers that be, all of that and more besides is being done in the name of saving democracy itself. Well, thank you very much. Suppressing to save democracy is like having sex to preserve virginity. It's a ludicrous concept. Joe Biden appears, severely compromised cognitively, to put it kindly. Many critics say that he's simply senile. He has corruption allegations all over him like a cheap suit, has had for years. His son, Hunter Biden, he of the crack cocaine and the prostitutes and the bungs and the kickbacks, hangs around Joe Biden's neck like an albatross. The Democrat attack on Trump grows ever more hysterical. This week, he's being called a dictator. He's being described as bad or worse than Hitler and Mussolini combined, which seems strange to say, given that he didn't actually invade anywhere or launch any attacks on anyone while he was president, most unusually for an American president. It's not even novel anymore to say that the globalist plan was supposed to have seen 8 years of Barack Obama, which happened, followed immediately by 8 years of Hillary Clinton, which didn't happen. That would have given the globalists and the warmongers time to finish the job. But then, Trump. Donald J. Trump in the White House was not supposed to happen, and so all hell was let loose. Here in the UK, Brexit was not supposed to happen, but both did, Trump and Brexit, in the same year, 2016. So 2024 is going to be a bumpy road. Here in the UK, we have the Uni Party to contend with, Conservative and Labour, as two desiccated testicles taking up space in the same saggy scrotum. Neither has anything left to give. No juice at all. We have our own election looming soon enough, and the fact is that most of the electorate simply don't care. Most of the electorate, or vast swathes anyway, are finally persuaded that it makes no difference if they vote, who they vote for, dumb or dumber, bad or worse. Either option, well, a guarantee of more misery for more people, as the politicians, so-called, faithfully do the bidding of the unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats of the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization and the rest of the entities known to us by acronyms, and the Bank for International Settlements that takes control of everybody's money. The world's money, the flow of money around the world, is all controlled out of Basel in Switzerland. There's some excited talk of voting for independent candidates, but I just don't see it. I would say politics is a dead parrot. It has ceased to be. One of the central problems for the globalists is that fewer and fewer people believe the lies in the compliant media anymore. The compliant media that the globalists pay for. So whatever they bring out next, or whatever they're contemplating bringing out next, cyber attack by China maybe, or airborne Ebola, or another terrorist atrocity, or an assassination maybe of some or other troublesome character. Whatever happens next, too many people like me, will look on at the official explanation and the hand-wringing and the confected horror and say, aye, right, there just won't be anything left in the bank account of belief. Nobody believes it anymore, or not enough that matter. The Democrats in the United States call Trump a fascist, while real fascism is all around us in the form of Klaus Schwab's stakeholder capitalism, he of the World Economic Forum. And stakeholder capitalism is actual fascism, by which I mean the power and the decision-making are snatched away from the people of nation-states and gifted in their entirety to boardrooms and bankers. That's who runs the world now, not us. All across Europe and elsewhere, there are so-called populist movements on the rise. Populist, which just means of the people, and should be a wholesome expression. Populist has been made a dirty word. It's an insult. It's just another way of saying that anyone interested in seeing the people have a say in the running of their countries, belong in Hillary Clinton's basket of deplorables. Democracy is dead. Certainly dead. But in recent times, I've been wondering at the extent to which we ever really had democracy. I wonder if we weren't just gulled into thinking we were making choices between apparently competing ideologies. I wonder if that game ever really mattered. I wonder if it was just an illusion, a mirage, a sweet treat for the masses, while the power lay and lies where it always has and does, in the hands of a narrow group. Call them what you will. It changes down through the centuries. Aristocrats, oligarchs, crime families, whatever. I look back at World War II and I wonder just exactly who won and who lost. All those Nazis collected by the United States in Operation Paperclip and just transplanted to the United States in their thousands, where they took up positions of authority and power in the institutions, in academia, then in politics. We were told in The Usual Suspects that the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was persuading the world he didn't exist. But I ask, did the Nazis and the rest of the fascists ever really lose? Or did they just persuade the world they didn't exist? And now, Advent, we're at a wondrous and dangerous crossroads in history. The beast, the globalists, are pointing one way, leading one way. Anti-human, anti-life itself, certainly anti-freedom, anti-people. And in the other direction, down the other road, are those that love their families, love their children, love life, and all of life's promise and potential. That's the separation now. That's the choice. For years now, I'm sure I've said this before, I've said that I feel like I'm falling. It's that sensation of weightlessness that strikes when you're in a car and it goes quickly and unexpectedly over a humpback bridge and your stomach flips. I feel that the world of before fell out from beneath my feet 2 or 3 years ago, and that I've been falling through space ever since, never finding my way never landing on solid ground. At the heart of the matter is the revelation that has already happened or shortly will. The mask is off. The wearers of the mask, the erstwhile wearers of the mask, seem not to care that we can see them now, and see who they are, and see what they're about. They know we know they're lying. But that's the point. We're supposed to know. And I would say they thought they had us. They called for lockdown. They rolled the dice and called for lockdown and a great reset, and surely could hardly believe their eyes when so much of the world did as it was told, went home and shut the doors. So they thought they had us, and they got giddy, they got drunk with the power and the potential. And so on it came then. They got all their toys out the box at that point. War, net zero, climate crisis, more war, men can be women, women can be men, it's right to change the sex of children, it's right to take away people's money, people's freedom, people's rights. That's what they thought. That's what they thought they could do. That's what they tried to do. That's what they started doing. But in fact, they overlooked and were ultimately taken by surprise by too many of us. And here we are, looking them straight in the eye, ready to win the ultimate game of chicken. The fact is, the globalist warmongers, the anti-human cabal, have blinked first. We haven't got them down yet, but they're wounded and they're exposed as never before. But a wounded predator, a wounded lion, is the most dangerous when it's in its death throes. It's as it fights to the end that it's capable of doing the most awful damage. So it's coming. Next year we'll see more of it, more of them. But in the end, it's a good thing, this Advent, this coming, this apocalypse, this revealing. It had to happen eventually, and now is the time.